I've been doing the DC website for 10 years.
Big enough, I'll roll it.
All right, well, it may shrink a little bit on you.
All right.
How are you?
2020 till next year. We're going to celebrate all year long, so keep up with us. We're going to be stopping out in Durham and all the surrounding areas.
Isn't this the greatest place in the world to be? Yes. Well, you know, I'm really excited because today we have the opportunity of welcoming around 1,200 new students to our campus. So forgive me for being in my move-in attire, but it's been great fun. I'm just leaving a student event, and there were still so many parents. So I had to tell them it's time to go home. But you know, we have some of the best art programs that you can imagine. And to have these sounds that we are enjoying tonight, I think is truly, I just can't find the words for it. And so we have some incredible faculty who've dedicated themselves to this genre. And we have students from across the world who come to Durham because we have a program that is indeed worthy of their investment to be here. Because at the end of the day, the musicians that we produce are on the national stage.
Yeah.
And so we're so proud that you're here and very thankful to you because that could not happen without you. And so I'm just here not to take away from the sounds, but just to extend my sincere appreciation to each and every one of you because you are touching America's finest. You have dedicated yourselves to this institution and to the product that we produce. And everyone who wears that NCC logo is most appreciative of your generosity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I want to also take the time to acknowledge current staff of WNCU. We have, I know everybody here, so you read your letters from her thanking you for your support of the station. That's our development director. Also, morning jazz host. You brought great light in the morning. You're listening to the concert. Thank you all so much. Also, would like to acknowledge our current volunteer staff. We have the folks who come in the evenings. Lolithia Underdew, she's on the air now. That's our afternoon jazz person.
I'll go switch out with her. So
she can come out. Okay. And then also our volunteer staff that comes in. There's Steve Williams. Miss Carolyn Pettiford-Riles, host of Hallelujah Praise. He's with us this evening. He sits in for Jim Davis for 8-Track Flashback. Host of Mastering Your Money on Sunday evenings. Is there anyone else? Also, now for people that, were before. They started working in the late 80s, I've been told, to get the station started. Finally got us on air through all of the snags, and we were on the air in August of 1995. I'm going to let Mr. Baker give us a brief history of the early years, which when he and I met, he said, well, we actually started in the late 80s. And I said, really? And it'll be interesting. So I'll let him share a brief story with you, and then we'll get back to the music. You can enjoy the festivities, enjoy the food, and I hope to get around to talk to each and every one of you.
Look, I'm not going to hold you long. And I just want to talk about really the first 5 years, which is the whole process is full of very interesting stories. Starting with the fact in the 80s and the 70s when I was a student here, that we did not have a voice. North Carolina College and then North Carolina Central University read about itself and heard about itself, but it had no voice talk about it. And so that's what this journey really has been about. In that effort, in the WAFR, which was the first black public radio station in the country, started on Henry Street, and it started with the efforts of Central Students. Okay, it was a community radio workshop, and you can go to every magazine and find photos and stories on WAFR, Wave Africa. Well, out of Wave Africa grew WNCU, because when WAFR went silent, the equipment was given to North Carolina Central, to start a radio station, but they could not give her a license, so there was no way to broadcast. Moving forward, to Tyrone and Richmond, who had a vision and a passion, and decided that North Carolina Central was going to get its own voice, a radio station. So in 1986, that path started. I worked with him on that. In '87, there was an application filed. By 1990, it still had not been given by the FCC. So I came on in 1990. In July 1990, we wound up calling Jesse Helms' office. First interesting story, because Jesse Helms, no matter what his philosophy was, included in that was that he supported his constituents. And so there was never any question. We talked with him, inquired about the license. He called Shirley Marshall, the then Republican chair of the FCC. She called us, told us we're not, if everything went well by the end of July, we had it. Well, on the last day of public filing, license, application was filed on top of us. And it took through the whole process into a 2.5 years tailspin. The outcome of that was that Tyrone and Richmond stepped up, found some money, borrowed some money, and paid off the competitor so that the university could have a station. The other really interesting story is that in the process of putting the station together, there's 10,000 radio stations with titles, WSSB, KN, Q. Everybody had one, so there's 10,000 of them already taken. How can we get or find a frequency that represents the university? So I called the call letter office at the FCC. I'm talking to this young lady, and giving her the background. So she said, "Well, I'm a Central alum." I'm going to find you some call letters. so very shortly after that, she calls me back. She says, I found the call letters from a retired U-boat. The call letters are WNCU. I said, I'll take it. And so there are many stories to be told about the development of WNCU. I just want to mention a few names that were right in the beginning. Starting with Donnell Lewis, who is still who is a professor still on this campus, and he was very much involved in the development and administration of WNCU. B.H. Hudson, one of our first volunteers.
Yes.
And B.H. is, she's sustainable. Truett O'Neill, Truett was a student when we first started. And he he developed all sorts of wonderful things. He developed the first student station because as a professional station, we needed to a facility that we could train students and get them ready to come on the air to support the effort. Truett was very much involved with that. He's gone on to work in professional radio and has developed many other skills. These are folks that I just walked in and I saw and I haven't seen in ages. Mike Nice, Michael Wilson. Yeah, Mike developed the first pop program for WNCU, and you know, sustained that for quite a few years. Ed Fulbright is one of the original volunteers, and again, quite sustainable. And Carolyn Rouse, she's been here 16 years and counting, and just providing us with some wonderful spirit, gospel music, and there will be more stories to tell during the course of the year, actually starting in September 18th. And you know, you can tell everybody more about that. But please join us for the events that are coming up and will be happening during the year. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other former WNCU staff or the volunteer or the paid staff? Maria Ewing Keeler, you were the Youth Development Director. I only know some of this stuff just by saying old files, so please excuse me if I don't know. Lois DeLoach, who just came here. Thank you so much for joining us. She was evening jazz host on Sunday evenings. Thank you so much for coming to be with us this evening. Anyone else? Mario, I saw you. Mario, he was the reggae show. Thank you so much. Bobby Allen also is working at WNCU. You had a jazz program, you did operations. I remember that also. Anyone else?
Yes. Corleone Wright.
Corleone Wright, you were a student here also.
Yes, I was a student and I was also the assistant program director and assistant music director as a student.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Because I don't want to admit anyone, because everyone who's worked it, everyone who's listened, you're all a part of how we have become who we are today. And hopefully we will be here for another 20 years, plus 20 years, plus 20 years. I'm going to ask the band if they would come back to begin to give us some of that great jazz music once again. DL come out? Well, she's gone back, maybe folks can see her when he goes to the tours. The station is also open for tours. If you want to go through, take a look at the main show. Also see, this is DL, she's the host of radio. In order to open the tours, we'll have to we have here also memberships and donations. If you want to share that with the WNCU staff that's working at the table, we would greatly appreciate that. That is how we have been able to continue to operate throughout the years. Thank you so much for coming out with us this evening. I did not mention that. And also this evening, Robert Charles and Eagle Jazz will begin at 8:30. But that's the new program that we've added. We partnered with NCTU Jazz Studies Department. And now we have a program where they come over with our new host in mind. Enjoy. We're going to get back to the music. Thank you so much. That was good.
Extra large.
Extra large.
We have a 2X. You want a 2XL?
What's the difference?
Sounds you about to hear about to blow your mind. Sounds you about to hear about to blow your mind. Sounds you about to hear about to blow your mind.